Hi Reddit, I'm a 21-year-old woman, and this post is about my brother's girlfriend Lara, not her real name. She's 18, and they've been together for about 8 months. At first, I really liked Lara. She seemed down to earth, especially compared to his previous girlfriends, who were kind of odd. Lara comes from a family with less money than ours. We're not rich, but we're comfortable. Lately, I've started feeling like she might be using us. A few weeks ago, my brother took her on a trip to Cuba and paid for everything because she didn't have the money. She still owes him $800 and hasn't paid him back yet. She also borrowed my mom's suitcase for the trip and still hasn't returned it or even unpacked her things. Before the trip, she told me she wasn't sure she wanted to stay with him because she felt like she hadn't experienced her young adult life fully, like going out to clubs and partying. During the trip, my brother told me that guys were constantly giving her attention, and she seemed to enjoy it. He mentioned that she was distant with him at times, but at the same time, they were still taking pictures kissing and acting like a couple. It's confusing because I know she wants to break up with him, but she isn't doing anything about it, and instead, she's being rude to him. What's also been bothering me is how she's acted about money and things. When we first met, I was cleaning out my closet, and she offered to help. I thought it was just her being kind, but now I feel like she just wanted me to give her clothes. I ended up giving her some really expensive dresses, like $300 each, which I don't wear anymore because they don't fit me, but now I regret it. She's also taken a bunch of expensive things from my mom after my mom and stepdad broke up, like her old bed and kitchen appliances. I do her lash lifts, and I paid for the supplies, but she never paid me back like she promised. She lives an hour away, and after the Cuba trip, she asked me to come to her house to do her lashes again. I refused because I didn't want to waste more money on gas, especially when she hasn't paid me for the supplies. Recently, she's been getting more and more rude. She texted me out of the blue saying, "So I need a costume. Are you gonna give me one or do I need to get it myself?" I was taken aback. Why should I be responsible for her costume? When I asked if she had any idea what she wanted to be, she just said, "Ick." She was also mad at me for doing the Halloween decorations without her, because she wanted to help. But I did it on a Saturday night around 9 p.m. So I didn't think it was relevant for her to come over and help. She wants to go clubbing for Halloween. But honestly, I'm not in the mood to party, and I have a lot of homework. My brother wants me to go so we can hang out with some friends. But now he wants to go to the club to check on her and see if she's going to cheat, because he thinks she might have already cheated on him. I also forgot to add that during their vacation, a few things happened that made me feel uneasy about her. For example, she spent an hour on the phone with her mom, causing them to miss a reservation my brother had made. While they were there, they made some friends, and she always wanted to hang out with them instead of spending time alone with my brother. When they got back, my brother caught the flu, and I was shocked by how she treated him. He was really sick, throwing up and having stomach issues, and she seemed annoyed by it. Even when he was struggling in the bathroom, she just sat there on her phone, completely ignoring him. On the flight home, he was so sick that he threw up on a lady while rushing to the bathroom, and she didn't even try to comfort him or help clean up. Now, I don't know what to do. I feel like she's using us, but it doesn't completely feel like her. I'm also conflicted because she told me things in private, and I'm unsure if I should tell my brother, even though he kind of already knows and has a gut feeling. So, am I the asshole for wanting him to break up with her? Update. I think there might be some misunderstandings here, so let me clarify. My brother paid for the Cuba trip up front because it costs $1,200 per person, and she didn't have the money at the time. She agreed to pay him back her share, and that's why she still owes him $800. He covered the full amount initially, but it wasn't meant to be a gift. It was more like a loan that she hasn't fully repaid yet. Regarding the clothes and furniture, I didn't mind giving her old clothes that didn't fit me, and my mom didn't need the furniture. So at the time, it seemed like helping her out. But I started feeling like she's taking advantage because she also borrowed my mom's suitcase and hasn't returned it yet. And there are other things adding up, like unpaid lash supplies and some insensitive comments. About the flight, I didn't expect her to literally clean up his vomit, but showing a bit of concern or care for someone you're in a relationship with, especially when they're really sick, seems reasonable to me. He wasn't sick before the flight. He got sick after brushing his teeth with the water in Cuba, and it hit him unexpectedly on the plane. I totally get that she's 18 and trying to figure out her life, and she doesn't have to decide if she's going to be with him forever right now. But if she's already uncertain about wanting to stay with him and doesn't seem interested in spending much quality time together on what was supposed to be a couple's trip, she's not a bad person. I just want my brother to be with someone who genuinely wants to be with him and cares about him. He's my little brother, and I think part of the reason I'm so protective is because of what he went through in the past. When my mom was with my stepdad, he was psychologically abusive to my brother, calling him names and putting him down. At the time, I wasn't living with them, and I feel guilty for not being there to protect him. My mom didn't really know about it, and she was also being abused herself, so it wasn't an easy situation for anyone. Because of all this, my brother is very sensitive now, and I can't help but want to look out for him. I know he needs to make his own decisions, but it's hard not to feel like I need to be there for him more. Given what he's been through, I realize that I can't control his choices, but that guilt makes me want to step in more than I probably should. I just want to make sure he's with someone who cares for him and treats him well. 3 days later. Hey guys, I wanted to do a little update and also share more about the past so you can understand where I'm coming from. First, thank you for all your comments. You guys think I'm not the asshole, which is reassuring, but I still kind of feel like one. I've been trying to respond to everyone, but there were a lot of questions about my brother's age. He's 19, not 21, and he's definitely not a predator, don't worry. Part of why I'm so invested in this situation is because I can relate to his girlfriend. When I was 18, the legal drinking age here allowed me to experience a phase of partying and living my life to the fullest. Back then, I was in a 3-year relationship, and we went through the pandemic together. I wasn't feeling the relationship anymore, so I broke up with him and lived my life. I just want to say that it wasn't an easy decision. We actually got back together after a year and a half of being single, which is kind of crazy, but it felt like a fresh start. The point is, when I saw her and how she acted, I saw a bit of myself in her. I brought up my own experiences to her, because I knew how lonely it could feel when you're unsure about what you want, and no one around you seems to understand. I thought it might help her feel like she could trust me, but now I feel stuck in the middle, and I don't know if I regret what I did. This week, my brother confronted her about the way she responded to me through text, telling her it hurt him, and that he didn't accept her talking to his family like that. She got upset and felt like we were all ganging up on her, so she decided not to stay the night and went back to her house. My brother was mad and called me. He was telling me that he wanted to break up, but since she owed him money, and he wanted his money back. That's when I told him what she had confessed to me, and I felt awful because I had promised her I wouldn't say anything. I initiated that conversation, so I felt like the fallout was all my fault. But this morning, my brother called me before work and said she texted him, asking for a break. He was furious and told me he planned to get all his things from her place and end it. She's going out to a big city with her sister next weekend, and he thinks she wants to use that time to meet other guys. And he made it clear that if that's what she wants, he's done. She said that wasn't her intention, and that she just needed some time. But he wasn't buying it. Now I feel even worse, because I can't help but think that if I hadn't shared my experience with her, maybe this wouldn't be happening. But then again, I keep telling myself it would have come up eventually. Some of you are asking why I'm so invested, and here's some background. My brother is a kind and gentle person, but the problem is that people often see his kindness as a weakness, just like my stepdad did, and they take advantage of it. My stepdad was psychologically abusive toward my brother, constantly calling him names and mistreating him. I didn't include this in my original post, because it's something that still hurts me deeply. At the time, I wasn't living with them, because I chose to stay with my dad to avoid dealing with my stepdad's behavior. My stepdad couldn't manipulate me, and I didn't let him get under my skin. I was the only one who would stand up to him. And things got really heated after my mom finally broke up with him. One night, things got so bad that my brother showed up at my dad's place with all his belongings, because my stepdad had almost physically assaulted him. Thankfully, my brother got out before things escalated. My mom didn't fully know what was happening, because she was also dealing with her own abuse from my stepdad. But that night, she realized it was enough and ended the relationship. Afterward, my brother moved in with me and my dad. Later, when my mom sold the old house and bought her current one, she and my brother moved in together. They're both doing better now, but they're still in therapy because they went through a lot. After he told me everything that happened, I felt so guilty for not being there to protect him. It still feels like I failed in my role as a big sister and a daughter. Growing up, I always felt responsible for protecting my brother. When our parents got divorced, I tried to keep him occupied whenever they were fighting, so he wouldn't hear the arguments. I heard everything, but I wanted to make the divorce as smooth as possible for him. That experience left me feeling like it was my responsibility to shield him from anything painful or traumatic. It might seem like I'm too involved, but with his previous girlfriend, I was hesitant and distant, and I know that hurt him. So this time, I made more of an effort to be present and not let my doubts keep me from trying to support his relationship. I didn't want to come off as harsh or unwelcoming to someone he cares about. But now I feel stuck in between. I haven't talked to her since their fight. I don't want her to think I'm mad at her, but I also don't want to upset my brother if he finds out I'm still in touch with her. I'm not sure if she even wants to talk to me anymore. It feels like she was trying to distance herself, and maybe I just didn't catch on to that. I'm mad at myself because I finally tried to be present and supportive, but I feel like I ended up making things worse. I don't know what to do now. My brother's reaction to all of this has been to focus on himself. He's mad and wants to move on, and just focus on getting back in shape and living his life. I don't know how to feel about his reaction. It seems like he's trying to brush it off, but I know it's hard on his ego, and he's hurting. I don't know if it's the update that you guys wanted, but it's all I know for now. Commenter 1. Why are beating yourself up about this? Your brother's girlfriend is an immature AH. She does want to play the field. Your brother is handling this in a healthy way by focusing on himself. Good for him. Hopefully you got your mom's suitcase back and anything else she borrowed. Commenter 2. I think the best thing you can do for your brother, as well as yourself, is to stop trying to take responsibility for the situation or his feelings. Respect your brother's choice to move on, validate his feelings without blaming yourself for them, and support him in the ways he communicates he needs. Right now, that may just be encouraging his new goals and self-interests.